Well, look what we have here. A video about life hacks from an unknown source. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. I mean, nothing screams reliability like a hack from someone who can't even bother to put their name on it. Get ready for some questionable advice that's probably more dangerous than helpful. I can already feel my patience slipping away, but hey, maybe we'll stumble upon a gem or two, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Stick around, and if you're brave enough to dive into this swamp of nonsense with me, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Because who wouldn't want to join me in this delightful misery? Now, let's see what kind of absurdity awaits us in this so-called life hack extravaganza. Ah yes, 2 tablespoons of wheat flour, because nothing says survival like baking in the wild. What's next? A souffle recipe. I mean, if you're out in the woods, you might want to focus on not getting eaten by a bear rather than whipping up a gourmet meal. This is the kind of nonsense that makes me question humanity. If I wanted to see someone play with sticks and flour, I'd just watch a toddler in a sandbox. Let's hope this hack leads somewhere useful, or I might just croak in frustration. Three small onions. Now we're really getting into the gourmet wilderness cooking, aren't we? I can just picture it. A 5-star meal in the middle of the woods. But wait, what's that? A fire. Now we're talking finally. Something that might actually be useful. Just don't burn down the entire forest while you're at it. I mean, if you're going to make a meal, at least do it without turning the place into a bonfire. Let's see if this culinary adventure leads to something edible or just a smoky disaster. A tablespoon of salt, because what's a wilderness meal without a little seasoning to mask the taste of despair? But wait, what's this? A lighter. Now we're getting somewhere. If you're going to cook in the wild, you better have a way to start a fire. Just don't set your entire campsites ablaze while trying to saute those onions. I can already hear the forest critters laughing at your misfortune. Let's hope this culinary journey doesn't end in a smoky mess. Another tablespoon of flour. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if we're making a meal or a science experiment. But hey, if you're out in the woods, you might as well throw in some baking powder and call it a day. And what's this? A knife? Now we're getting serious. Just remember, folks, if you're going to be wielding sharp objects in the wild, make sure you're not the one who ends up getting sliced. Let's see if this concoction actually turns into something edible, or if it's just a recipe for disaster. Well, look at that. A little fire action. Now we're cooking, literally. But let's hope that flame doesn't turn into a full-blown forest fire. I can just imagine the wildlife gathering around, popcorn in hand. waiting to see if this culinary adventure ends in glory or disaster. Just remember, folks, fire is your friend until it's not. Let's see if this meal can survive the heat. Now we're getting into some serious survival territory. Using a can to cook, that's the kind of ingenuity I can respect. It's like Macjever meets Bear Grylls out here. But let's be real, if this goes sideways, you might end up with a meal that's more mystery meat than gourmet. Just make sure you don't accidentally create a can explosion. I can already hear the forest critters laughing at your misfortune. Let's see if this culinary gamble pays off, or if it's just a recipe for disaster. Well, what do we have here? A surprise guest appearance from a creature that looks like it just crawled out of a swamp. Is that a crocodile or just a really confused log? This is the kind of unexpected twist that makes me question everything. If you're cooking in the wild and suddenly find yourself face to face with a reptile, I'd say it's time to rethink your life choices. Let's hope this doesn't turn into a dinner and a show situation. And now we're really pushing the limits of wilderness cooking. But wait, what's that? Cooking it right on the ashes? That's bold. I'll give you that. I can just imagine the taste, smoky with a hint of regret. If this turns out edible, I might just have to reconsider my entire existence in this bog. But if it goes wrong, well, let's just say the forest critters will have a feast. Let's see how this culinary gamble plays out. What in the name of all that is toad-like is that? It looks like a culinary disaster wrapped in a can. If that's what you call cooking, I'd rather stick to my bog diet of flies and swamp weeds. I can't tell if it's supposed to be a meal or a science experiment gone horribly wrong. If you're trying to impress the forest critters, I'd say you've succeeded, though they might just be laughing at you. Let's hope this doesn't end with someone getting sick. Well, there you have it, folks. We just waded through a so-called life hacks video that was about as useful as a soggy piece of cardboard. Seriously, you'd think with all the internet wisdom floating around these days, someone might come up with a hack that doesn't require you to channel your inner Bear Grylls while risking a forest fire and your dignity. Did my initial skepticism hold up? Oh, you bet it did. Surprising nobody. This video was brimming with the absurdity of wilderness cooking that would make even the most hungry raccoon question its life choices. A couple of tablespoons of flour, and a questionable fire setup. I'd sooner trust a hungry toad with a Michelin star than follow that nonsense. In conclusion, if you ever find yourself lost in the woods, just stick to a classic strategy. Find an expert or settle for whatever nature has to offer, because after witnessing this culinary catastrophe, I'll take my chances with the flies and swamp weeds. And on that delightful note, if you've enjoyed this journey into the ridiculous, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Join me here in my swampy solitude as I navigate the absurdity of the internet one life hack at a time. Who knows, with enough encouragement, we might just discover what not to do in the wild. Until next time, keep your fire contained and your expectations low.